Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Young, and today is a beautiful day. In fact, every day that you wake up is a beautiful day, and it's a beautiful day in sunny California. And I'm here with Jen Kimberly, and there's a real good reason for talking with Jen because she's been on a journey that has brought her many wonderful experiences, even though the path I think initially probably wasn't one that she decided on her own to go down. But she's written a book about this, and that book people need to read it. They need to look at other people's experience so they can learn rather than make mistakes going down other paths trying to find their way to their ultimate outcomes. And so this book right here, I'm holding My Cancer Solution, My Cancer Survival Saga. And I mentioned solution because it is a solution to what is going on. And I highly recommend that you get this book, that you read it, regardless whether you have cancer. It's a recipe for prevention, to prevent a cancerous condition. But if you've been diagnosed with any cancerous condition, Jen's experience is going to definitely help you on your journey back to taking control of your health, taking control of your life. And it's very important to remember this very important point. It's your life, it's your body, and it's your choice. And so, Jen, I'm happy to share this book, your experience. In fact, the best person that has told this story is the one who has experienced it. And so maybe you could just introduce yourself and maybe some background on what brought you to the point of writing this book, and maybe we'll take it off from there. Okay. So welcome, Jen. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you, Dr. Young. Well, I had cancer. I had leukemia for 19 years total. By the time I got to 10 years, taking the traditional standard pill, I could see that I was going nowhere and the pill would never cure it. So I gave it up and I left America and I went traveling, looking for alternative treatments.
Hmm.
And I found quite a lot of them. I went to Costa Rica first. I was having a vacation first with a friend.
That's
And
good.
while I was there, I wasn't taking anything for the cancer. I had been in Canada. I should back up a little bit. I saw a doctor in Canada, and he
Okay.
did a CBC test to test the blood, components.
Yeah, that
And
CBC stands for a complete blood count. Did he do some cancer antigen tests like a
no,
CA
he did
15, CA 19, 27, 29? Just a basic blood count test.
just the basic, the CBC that
And
my
what
doctor
did he
had.
find on that? Because a lot of
Well,
people probably don't even know what leukemia is. Leukemia is a dysfunction of the white blood cells, and it's the can be the overproduction of white blood cells, elevated white blood cells in relationship. Current classical medical thought is that leukemia, as white blood cells is the body's being attacked, the cells are being attacked, so it's a cancer of the blood. uh, you know I have a different opinion of that. I don't agree. I believe that when there's more garbage, you need more people, or you need more garbage trucks to pick up the garbage, and that leukemia is nothing more than the body is a response to an alarming situation to clean up the internal environment, very simply because of what we're eating, drinking, breathing, thinking, feeling, and believing. That these contributing factors, our lifestyle, is the cause of leukemia. So I just for people to understand, leukemia sounds like a terrible diagnosis, but it's kind of like influenza or pneumonia. It's the body in a defensive mechanism trying to heal the body, and we think it's a disease, but it's an acidic uh, imbalance or dysbiosis, or an imbalance in the homeostasis of the body fluids that's causing, due to an increase of toxic biologicals or chemicals that cause the leukocytes. That's why it's called leukemia, leukocytes or white blood cells, to increase in number. So from there, I'll let you take over, Jen. I just wanted people to understand that leukemia is not a disease. It's actually an acidic condition of the body fluids due to the body fluids, the solutions, the body fluids are in a polluted state.
Well, thank you. And yes, I didn't know any of that at the time.
Okay. Well, you do now.
But I discovered you eventually. But at the beginning, this was a long trek. That's what the book's about. It's a long.
It's a survival saga of your journey. Absolutely.
Right.
People should read this.
I tried that. Nothing worked. I know. I kept going and going. And in the end, in chapter 10, I decided, the heck, again, none of them have cured the cancer. They've all made me much more healthy, but I just need to figure out my own individual protocol. So I put that together, and that's in chapter 10, and then I implemented it last year. And for 10 months, I ate nothing but vegetables.
So you became that little Zaitchik, the bunny rabbit, and started to. People say, well, how can you live on lettuce or greens or vegetables? You know, how can you survive on that? And I say this, you know, for a lighter thought here, is, well, look, you know, can't rabbits ever get cancer? No, they never die from cancer. You know, they're a little further down the food chain, but no cancer with rabbits. Okay. And they got a great sex life. So, I mean, maybe eating like rabbits is a good thing. You know, it's so that's just on a lighter note. But go ahead.
Well, lettuce was not part of it because I had been tested in Germany when I went to the cancer clinic there for food allergies. So I had 7 food allergies. And I also had parasites, and I was in a very terrible mess. And also just before that, I almost died because I had a small stroke in Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. So my son took me to this clinic in Arizona, and they dragged me back from the grave. And then I could function, and I went to Thailand and had stem cell treatments. This is all in the book. And then to get to what worked, I did this protocol, and it was mostly green. I found that I bought a good juice, but I found that I just couldn't make good tasting juice, you know, unless I put a lot of carrots in, and that would sort of undercut the purpose with all that sugar. So I bought your green powder, which I have to tell you now is much more appetizing, and I do make it, and I have a mug full right here because I'm sipping on it all day practically.
Okay, so you're drinking what, super greens?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I drink that too. I mean, it's something that I look forward to, and every time I drink it, I go, "Hey, this really tastes good," and I feel better by doing so. And I notice that infusion of life force energy. The thing that's unique that you may not know about that product is I use an electrical process to, like water, ionizing the grasses and restoring that electrical potential, that life force. So when you drink it, you feel that increase of life force energy as one plant is giving its electrical energy or life force to you. Yeah. Well, good. So you started drinking the greens. Okay. What else? What else would you like to share that of your experience? Did you have any setbacks at all with your treatments?
With the alternative treatments, no, they were all very helpful. One of them was hypothermia in Germany. I had
Okay.
that many times. That sort of woke up my immune system.
So what's the
Which,
purpose of hyperthermia? What did they tell you the purpose was? Was
what
it
did
to
they
induce
tell
a
me?
fever, to open up the, activate the lymphatic system? Was it to cause you to sweat? What did they tell you?
Yes. Well, I think it had several purposes. One was to make you sweat, which took out a lot of toxins.
Hmm.
One was to stimulate your immunity, and mine, I think, was dormant. And I felt at the end of the first one, I felt a weird feeling in my belly that like a creature was in there moving all of a sudden, and
Hmm.
it felt like something was waking up. And ever since then, I've had a strong immune system, which makes me hot and cold and then hot again, and very reactive to things. So, but it didn't. I left that clinic with a bunch of Lovenox injections to give myself because I still had the cancer, and so I was just baffled when I got to where I was in chapter 10. I didn't know what else to do. I was about to give up and just eat hot fudge sundaes and die.
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't know.
let's go back here because you made a statement that we just can't walk away from. You said, uh, my understanding is that when you say you still have the cancer, what does that mean to you? Because that sounds more like classical Western etiology, which proposes from my perspective, a false illusion about what cancer really is. When you say, I mean, how do you know that you have continued to have cancer? What is the test? What is the markers you're
Well,
going off of?
well, I had an oximeter. I've had it from the beginning,
Okay, well
and
that only tests oxygen concentration. That's testing circulation. So tell me how you would know that you're not in remission, or that you still have this leukemia problem. Did you do follow up CB comprehensive blood count test? I mean,
yes, I
for
had a
example,
doctor. I
yeah.
had a traditional doctor.
Okay, so did they test your white count, your lymphocytes? Did they do differentials on those? Did they test the other types? There's two types of major white blood cells. There's acanthocytes and there's, well, excuse me, there's the granulocytes and the agranulocytes. The agranulocytes are the lymphocytes, like T cells and B cells. Were those still elevated, your T cells?
Well, I don't know. All they did was CBC and sometimes the metabolic panel.
Okay.
And
Yeah. So to really understand whether you're in remission or not, particularly when it comes to leukemia, you have to do differentials. You have to do white blood cell counts, so you actually see if those numbers are elevated. For example, a normal, if you're taking just a universal, a global view of white blood cell counts, there's a range like 4.5 to 10, and there's a range within the red blood cell counts. And so I would highly recommend that you go back and do a comprehensive blood count with differentials so you can see exactly what's going on with the white blood cells. Now, for those who are listening, leukemia is diagnosed by lab. In other words, they look at the white blood cells. I had the opportunity to look at your white blood cells, and I did not see leukemic cells. Leukemic cells are dying cells. They're cells that are literally so full of excess biologicals they've been collecting, or there's an activation of the lymphocytes, and that didn't show up in your blood tests. So, you need to give yourself, just as a thought, permission to break out of this so-called leukemic box, which is not even a cancer. Leukemia is not a cancer. I want everybody to understand that. Leukemia is an elevated white count in response to what cancer really is. Cancer is the disease of the fluids of the body. It's an increase of toxicity, both chemical pollution, electromagnetic pollution, in addition to biological pollution. For me, and you gave these things up, like chicken genetics or turkey genetics or cow genetics or fish genetics. You know, you changed your diet period of what it takes to produce a brand new baby, 9 months when you started this, and now you're feeling differently. Now, you know, circulation is improved. Now you're in normal white blood counts, and now you're not seeing, you know, hairy cell leukemia where, you know, the white blood cells are just breaking apart, or eosinophils that are blasted open and literally spilling their guts. You're not seeing anesthetication of neutrophils where they're literally poisoned and literally shaking. That happens when you drink alcohol. That happens when you drink coffee. That happens when you smoke pot. That happens when you live an acidic lifestyle. I mean, white blood cells just sit there paralyzed. I mean, an example of this would be the paralyzation of the neutrophils. Okay, they're literally paralyzed for days when you put an acidic beverage into your body. It paralyzes them. I didn't see that. I mean, you can go get a classical blood test with a comprehensive blood count with a chemistry, but differentials are very, very important. I think you'll find some very exciting news for you, so you can get off, you know, this etiology. And no disrespect, but it's a false belief that leukemia is a cancer. It's actually the body trying to save your life, the blood trying to save your life. Even people don't even know this, that red blood cells literally sacrifice their life to save you from inverted ways of living and eating. So they'll give up their hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is donated to neutralize waste, biological waste. The reason I believe that you're doing better is because you made a conscious decision to make a change in your internal environment with your lifestyle and diet. And you'll continue to improve in your overall health as you continue to do that. Stem cell treatments can give temporary relief, but it's not curative. It's a treatment.
It didn't help.
Yeah, well, that's what I hear out of 99%. The reason it doesn't help, unless you're using usually stem cells from your own body, you know, if the quality of those cells are not good, you know, it's like putting bad into bad, other than you're trying to increase, you know, the number of embryonic cells. The best way to increase embryonic cells for producing blood, and which then produce healthy blood, and then healthy body cells, is with the alkaline lifestyle and diet. And you mentioned that in your book. You mentioned specific things here. You mentioned foods you should eliminate, fluids you should eliminate, and you know, and most people would look at that and say, well, that's extreme. Well, I would say, no, your lifestyle is extreme. Mine is normal. Yours is normal. That's extreme. If you're drinking coffee to get up in the morning, that's extreme. If you're drinking alcohol, you know, to get over whatever you're trying to do, or to get that buzz, or smoking pot, that's extreme. I'm not extreme. You're not extreme. Yeah. So it's all a matter of perspective. Your experience, that's what this is. Your experience was the teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that experience is something that you will always have with you, and will always take with you, both in this life and between lives.
Yeah.
Because we have an eternity of lives.
Yeah.
So you must have had to learn something from this experience, and hopefully the people that are learning is there is no disease. There is no disease. There's only symptomologies that are an expression of how one is living. We are in 100% control on how stem cells are expressed. It is controlled by the environment. So if you've got acidic friends, if you hang out with acidic people, you become like them. So so relationships with food, with water, with air, with people, you know, you have to be around or and it literally flood yourself into an environment if you want to survive. You hang around, continue what you're doing, but if you want to thrive, you have to make changes, and that's what you've done. So I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
That you made the choices. Now you have one other thing that you need to experience, and that's to take a magic eraser, because that will help you to move forward, realizing that what you're doing is actually working. I know that because you shared your blood with me. So I have anatomically know your blood. Biochemically, I know your blood. You shared that with me. If you want to get a more classical, opinion, then I suggest you go back and have a CBC, particularly from someone who knows nothing about you. Not the doctor who has a preconception of a label that you are, but a new doctor, that can order up some blood tests, that really doesn't know the background story. I don't know if that's possible, but I think you'll
It's
get.
not possible here. They're very rigid and fixed here in the healthcare. But when I get to California, I'll try that.
Yeah. What would you like to share with people that you believe is maybe one or two of the most important things that they should know, you know, if they've been diagnosed with a cancerous condition, or if they just want to prevent a cancerous condition?
Well, the first thing is to own your own space, and it's your body, and to not think that it belongs to the doctor. I think a lot of people give up their seniority. So that's a mistake. So keep your own seniority, and it's your body, your decision, your procedures.
Would you say that's good advice even for today with the current case demic?
With the current what?
Case demic. Where people are being diagnosed with a condition that may or may not be real. It's a case demic.
Oh.
Yeah, case demic. You think that that
I think it's political, all of that.
But I mean, as far as owning your body, what you just got through saying, and own your own space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, make your own decisions is what I mean. Don't be influenced or frightened or discouraged by other people's attitudes.
Mm-hmm.
Because people think cancer, oh, you're going to die. So just ignore all that. Stay away from those sort of people. I would say that's the first thing to keep in mind.
Okay.
And now, what was the question?
The second is, as far as 2 or 3 experiences that you would like to share that would help people, kind of understand how to prevent, or if they have been diagnosed with a cancerous condition, what they could do to help themselves. You mentioned one is to take seniority. Yeah.
Right. And then if you have people in your family or friends who will support you and give you company with it, I would go for that too, because if you're all by yourself and everyone else has different viewpoints, that can be discouraging right there. But you need friends who will spend time with you and maybe help you if you're very sick, if you really can't get out and do your shopping, for instance. People who will help you in those practical ways, and people who understand what you're in and why you're working to treat it yourself. And just the company of supporting people would be enormously helpful. I didn't have that, but I would see it as a very good thing to have.
Yeah, so companionship, love, especially hugs, not just help or support by taking the groceries or purchasing the groceries or helping you with whatever physical needs you have, but also support from an emotional, spiritual level.
Right. Someone who thinks that your life is worthwhile to be extended. My son,
Absolutely.
I have two sons. One has schizophrenia, and the other one is very, very supportive and a very giving person. And in fact, I dedicated the book to him. And he was the one who fetched me from Costa Rica and got me settled into the Arizona clinic. And he has sent me things that I need, like computer stuff. He's a techie guy.
Okay.
Everything I need now. Right now, he's helping me with the website, so it makes sense to people who visit. So without his support and love, I don't know.
Yeah. Would you say that's probably one of the major motivating factors for you? I mean, that you have that support, that you have that love running around outside your body, that's like a second heart to you?
Yes, and I didn't want to. I knew that he would be grieved if I died, so that's one reason I didn't want to just, lie
But you want
over.
to be around for him. You want to be around for family, friends,
Yeah.
and now you're reaching out to help other people.
Yes, and I'm a writer, and I'm a musician also. But being a writer, I wanted to write down what was happening to me because I do know that a lot of people have cancer. I've met them. I've met them at all these clinics I've been at, and they're really depressed, many of them, and they're clueless. They don't know what's happening, and they just rely on the short bits of information that their doctor has time to give them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't read about it. They don't do any research, and I was really amazed at how accepting the people were who had the cancer, of, accepting their condition. And since that's been many years, and I've been in touch with some of them, and I've heard about some of them. I know many of them have died since then.
Yeah.
So that was upsetting to me, and I wanted to write a book so that people could get to think, do their own thinking and their own research, and because everybody's cancer is different, in my view. I don't know if I haven't heard you say that, but I think everybody has their own particular shape of cancer.
Here's the book here. I noticed there's some flowers that you put down at the bottom of the book. Is there some meaning, or are those your favorite flowers?
No, yes, they're wildflowers. I found that picture. I didn't design the cover, but I told them how to design it.
Uh-huh.
I sent them the flowers and I said, make it all blue above that. And then the designer added that tree at the top left, which I like, and the clouds. So I think they did a very good job.
Yeah, very good. Well, where can they get this book?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble online, not Barnes and Noble shops yet. I have to take a book to Barnes and Noble, at the local one here, and it has returnability, which is the big thing for Barnes and Noble. So if it has that, then they will order some and they'll put it in their central database.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on my list. I have to tell you, I'm delayed because it's like today, it's 18 degrees here and there's snow all over the place. And I have wobbly balance since my stroke. That little stroke in Costa Rica took some of my balance. And so I don't trust myself walking on icy streets. So I haven't gone anywhere, and I don't trust myself driving either. because I don't see the signs quickly enough to respond, safely. So because they're bouncing up and down. When the car bounces, I bounce, and my head bounces, and what I'm looking at bounces. Now, I don't know what that is exactly. There's no name for that particular problem that I have found. But
Well, maybe I can share that with you. There's a bundle of cells. It's called the solitarius totalis nucleus of the astrocytes, which are glial brain cells. And these bundle of cells control your balance. They control homeostasis. They control body temperature. They control the beating of your heart. They control the biochemistry of your body fluids. They give instructions. This bundle of cells is located in the brain stem. And if it's not bathed in alkalinity, it cannot function properly.
So alkalinity will help with it then.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the best elements that can help is magnesium. And there's many types of magnesium, but the best form of magnesium in combination with chlorophyll and quinine is to drive this alkalinity into the cell is the magnesium threonate, or in addition, reduced glutathione. Reduced glutathione carries an extra electron. So anytime you can increase your hydration by drinking greens, because drinking greens not only makes you feel better, is not only purifying, but it also is foundational in building the hemoglobin of your blood. And so when I'm working with athletes and I'm teaching them that they need to drink more greens, eat more greens, that when you're green, you're more lean. When you're green, you're more serene. When you're green, you're never mean. So what you do is you literally flood your body with green foods and the blood of green plants. In fact, that's what Daniel did when he was being held prisoner, by Daniel the prophet.
Oh.
Do you remember the story in chapter 1?
No.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was supposed to be fed to the lions. And of course, prior to feeding, they would always feed those who were going out for entertainment of those who attended, the feast, so to speak. And they ended up being the lion's meal. They would feed them the king's meat and they would drink the king's wine. And Daniel said, I refuse the king's meat and the king's wine. Bring me that which comes from seed. And of course, the definition of the word that they used back then was pulse. Bring me pulse and water. Okay. And from that pulse and water is what he kept his body healthy. What I say pulse, that which comes from seed that bears green leaves and green fruits, that like avocado, that these are the foods that will strengthen you. Several years later, and this is in Babylon where this is taking place, several years later, the king Nebuchadnezzar appointed him because he found as an advisor, because he was not only the strongest man in the land, he was the wisest, intelligent man in the land. So the promise to following a plant-based, green, alkaline lifestyle and diet is that you become smart, not just of those things of the world, but you gain more of this innate intelligence, common sense, more connection with who you truly are, your spirit being, having this physical experience here on planet Earth. And things get easier. You remember more. You end up remembering those things which had been veiled that maybe you actually experienced or learned from an eternity of lives, which is now being unfolded to you. I don't know if you've ever had the experience where you say, yeah, I think I've been here before, or where did that thought come from?
Yeah, sure, a lot of times.
Okay, well, those thoughts are not alien thoughts. They're just not coming out of the blue. I mean, that's what it feels like. So where did that thought come from? Wow, I can't believe I said that. I mean, that was profound,
Yeah,
you know.
I know. Yeah, I've
Okay.
also
So,
had.
but that's who you really are. That's like the veil coming down, and from your innate eternity of lives, your experiences are then coming forth, and you're expressing that. And you know, some people call it deja vu or what have you. But
Yeah.
you know, people ask me, where did you gain all this knowledge? From an eternity of lives. I mean, when the veil gets thinner and thinner, you really access to greater aspects of all of your experiences. And it's
Yeah.
just like a computer, you know, oh, wow, I lost a file or I lost this. Oh, and then you found it. You know, you couldn't find it on the computer. You searched and searched, but it was on your hard drive. So the hard drive are the living, indestructible anatomical elements that make up every physical being. And then you've got spirit matter, which is also matter. It's just finer that inhabits that physicality. And so there's a tremendous amount of knowledge there beyond all the books that have ever been written. If you just have to act, you just have to know how to access it.
Yeah.
So accessing that, you have to be
You have to.
open to this idea, and you have to seek. But sometimes it takes an experience like you've had to really open up your true essence, and things it forces you, to seek answers. For most people, some people know, but for you, you know, you've made that veil a lot thinner for yourself. And so now you
So
have this book, your experience. You know, you graciously are sharing it with the world. You're gaining more knowledge as you go along, and learning from others, you know, from their experience. And so I
yeah,
congratulate you on your desire to take control of your body, and to be the captain of your life.
yeah. I use that metaphor in the book. Be the captain of your ship.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Be
There's
the
one
captain.
more thing I'd like to say about the book, which is that it has 5 sections on meditation techniques. When I was 13, I started on a long search, somebody to teach me how to meditate. And I didn't find anybody until I was 36. And
Okay.
then that was in California. And I went to a school in Berkeley and got all kinds of teaching and help and healings. I got the whole thing, and I've been using it ever since. So some of those techniques are described in the book that anybody can use.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah, because meditation is a way for us to connect us to this reservoir of knowledge that has been just hasn't been accessed. It's there. You just have to seek it, and it's
Yes,
within.
I'm going to continue writing about those things on my website. If anybody looks at that site,
What is your website?
it's jenkimberly.com.
Oh, that's simple. And when you say Kimberly, is it L-Y or L-E-Y?
Ley.
Okay, I just want to make sure everybody
And it's
types
under
that.
construction right now. My son's working on it, so it's not perfect right now, but it's going to have a section on spiritual matters, and another section on
Good.
cancer, and on body health in general, and there are a lot of blogs up there already, so somebody could do quite a lot of reading if they wanted
Well,
to go there.
good. Well, keep up your good work, and stay alkaline, stay safe. And any last words of wisdom for us?
Oh, don't give up. That was that. You know, I had to be very persistent, especially when you get on to vegetables only, which you will have to do if you're going to make yourself alkaline. Um,
Hmm.
you'll be wanting, hot fudge sundae and a good piece of toast or something. And you have to be very strong with yourself not to give in to that, because if you give in once, you'll have about 10 days or 2 weeks before you recover and get back to the alkalinity level where you were. So it's really self-defeating to do that. So stick with it.
Well, Jen Kimberly, your book, My Cancer Survival Saga, and How You Could Star in Yours. And it's a beautiful cover with wonderful knowledge of your own personal experience, given freely to those who are seeking not only to prevent but also reverse any cancerous condition. So have a wonderful day. God bless you and your family, and also your lovely son, who is your heart running around outside your body. So give each other give all those who you love, especially this coming weekend with Valentine's Day,
Oh, yeah.
a true expression of your love by connecting your heart with their heart with a hug.
Right. Will do.
All right. All the best. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.